Hey guys, welcome back and hope everyone out there is doing well. Today I'm going to take it a little bit of a different direction. Thought that I would actually talk about how I got into coin collecting, but most importantly, the most important pieces in my personal collection. These coins aren't going to be worth a whole lot. I mean, naturally, as we've talked about before, there's reasons to invest in coin collecting, and we certainly have investments in coin collecting, but there's also going to be sentimental reasons for coin collecting, and these are probably, although not worth a whole lot of money, are, to me anyways, the most valuable coins that I have, just purely because of what they mean to me. Which, of course, again, you guys want to collect coins how you want to collect coins no matter what. I mean, we do, of course, have things for investment, but a lot of this is history, memories, sentimental reasons, and just maybe we like the design. But anyways, I'm going to start with number one here. This is literally the very first coin that was ever added to my coin collection before I even knew I was a coin collector. Now, this guy right here, as you can see, Morgan silver dollar, 1890. I don't even remember the mint mark on it. Oh, for New Orleans. Not a very pretty coin at all. As you can see, there had even been some places where the edge had been shaved to remove some silver. Overall, in very damaged condition. In fact, I didn't treat this coin very well at all when I first got it. But the reason why this coin is worth so much to me personally is because this was given to me by my late grandmother when I was, I'd say 4 or 5 years old. She used to work in a thrift store in California called the Treasure Trove. And whenever she would get things, that I was into, like seashells or anything like that, she would give it to me. But this had actually come into the Treasure Trove, and she thought, hey, maybe Jason would like this, so let's take this to him. And I immediately fell in love with the way it looked, what it meant, how old it was, of course, because I've always been interested in history. And I was kind of hooked from there. And after that, she used to bring me wheat pennies, which I still have all of those, and, old nickels and dimes and silver dimes. And she even gave me an 1861 half dime, which was pretty awesome. But this right here is what started the obsession for me. This is coin number one. This is alpha of the coins. And this thing's worth maybe 35 bucks. I mean, it's not, again, it's heavily damaged. It's a nasty looking coin. But to me, this coin is worth the world because this is what started everything for me. And unfortunately, we lost my grandmother in May of 2017. So this is going to be worth even more to me, of course. Now, moving on. Right before we lost my grandmother, we lost her husband, my grandfather, 2 weeks before that. And one of the things that he wanted me to have before he passed away was he had a few coins that he had collected. Again, knowing that I was into collecting coins, that was going to be my thing. So he'd always wanted me to have these. And unfortunately, in May of 2017, I got to take them home with me. But again, these are going to be some of the most important things in my collection, period, ever. 1969 colorized Kennedy half dollar. Really cool looking coin. A lot of people would say that this coin's been destroyed, which from an investment perspective, yes, this coin has been numismatically destroyed. I mean, there's still, of course, silver content on it. It's 40% silver, but either way you look at it, still a Kennedy half dollar, 40% silver, and something that I would never part with just because he wanted me to have this. Very important to me. I think they got these probably like 20 years or so ago, back right around the early 2000s when, Littleton Coin Company became pretty popular and everybody was getting the colorized silver eagles and all that stuff. This was kind of part of it. Another one from my grandfather. 40th anniversary. It's got John Jr. on the back there. I'm not even sure what year this one is. 1965. Oh yeah, the Eternal Flame. Again, 40% silver. And again, to most people not worth much, but to me, priceless. And we have something else from my grandfather. Again, JFK. He was kind of a fan of JFK, but he mostly was just a huge American patriot. The man survived the Battle of the Bulge in the December of 1944. The man was an amazing human being, to say the least. This one is 0.900 fine silver, 90%, 1964. 1964, of course, being the only year that the Kennedy half dollar was 90% silver. And again, numismatically, not worth much. To me, worth plenty. Alright, and then the last thing from my grandfather. 1974 Eisenhower uncirculated silver dollar. One of the infamous blue Ikes, as they say. Quite a beautiful coin. In fact, actually, this would be most definitely would be in gradable condition. However, of course, this being from my grandfather, it is going to remain in this condition. Plus, 1974s wouldn't be worth all that much. People might ask me, okay, well, if you want it for sentimental reasons, why wouldn't you get it certified just to have it, you know, in condition for quote-unquote ever? To keep it preserved, but of course I want to keep everything in the original packaging that I got from my grandparents. Other than this one, of course, I mean, that one was literally just loose, and yeah, pretty much been in that kind of condition since. And then we have these. These Lincoln Head Send albums are actually from my father. He gave these to me, I think, when I was probably about 5 or 6 years old, or maybe he didn't even intend to give them to me. He might have showed them to me, and, you know, as kids typically do, I might have just absconded these and said, oh, these are mine now. But in these books are pennies that he collected when he was a kid, which, again, makes them absolutely invaluable to me. And in talking to my father recently, he was actually kind of surprised that I still had these, which, I mean, again, to me, I would go through quite a bit to keep these coins because of what they mean to me. And as you can see, some of these coins, like this 1957 Denver right here, have been in there probably since he pulled it out of pocket change back in the late 50s. And some of this, as you can see, like right here, this must be about the time that he got this book, because the actual printed dates end here. And then these are all handwritten. These are written by him. There's a really nice 1962 Denver. And then when I got a hold of it, I started to put some other pennies in here, but this is all his handwriting. All of these. And what I think is really interesting about this album is he had put in here 1965D, 6060, and 1967D, which of course they were made, but the mint director at the time decided to eliminate mint marks from coins. So although Denver did strike coins back then, you'll never know which ones are from Denver because they didn't have the mint mark on them. So I think this is a really cool little time capsule right here, expecting them to make the 65 Denvers, 66 Denvers, 66 Denvers, and of course they didn't. So yeah, we're looking at a little piece of history here as far as I'm concerned. There's a little, probably aluminum coated penny right there. Of course it's not one of the actual aluminum coins. Otherwise, we would all be rich or in jail because they're illegal to own. But, you know, that's the way it is. And then these guys are pretty much the same concept. Again, some of his original albums. And then some of these, let's see, right around here, this is actually my handwriting. When I got a hold of the album, I started adding coins to it. all the way up to, looks like 1994D. That nice 1993D. So I was actually filling this album out well into the 90s. Let's see, I think these are empty if I remember correctly. These are all empty albums that he had. Well, there's one 1939 in there. One Lone Wheat Cent. There's a couple in here. 44D, 45 plain, 1950 plain. Yeah, nothing fancy. One Lone Oddity there. Looks like a, let's see, what is that, a 50? Let's take a look here. Yeah, that one's a 1950 plain. And then the last album, let's see what we got here. This one's looking pretty empty. Yep, that one's pretty empty. Probably one that, this actually might be one that my grandmother brought me from the thrift store. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this little peek into why I'm so obsessed about coin collecting and why there is coins in the collection that I would never, ever, ever part with. I mean, if you look at the entire lot here that's in front of you, there's not even $100 worth of coins. But to me, they're absolutely priceless. But anyways, guys, love you all. God bless. And we will see you soon. Stay safe out there.